Welcome back to Learn SKN, and today we have another video for you. This time it's the Principles of Business to May-June 2018 paper 3. So we have a paper 3 today, May-June 2018 paper 3 for POB, Principles of Business. And as you already know, most of the paper 3s are in the form of case study. And so today we're looking at the case study of SSJ Steam Cleaning Limited. So section A. 5 years ago, Stephanie, Cheryl, and Joel, three friends from high school, set up SSJ Steam Cleaning Limited. The firm specializes in deep steam cleaning and the treatment of carpets, drapes, and fabric chairs using mild but effective cleansing agents and chemicals. After a few years, the friends pursued further studies in finance, marketing, and the art of steam cleaning. The employees in the firm are encouraged to express themselves and give suggestions, but the owner reserves the right to make the final decision. Shared management functions and responsibilities have proven to be advantageous to the firm's operations. Over the years, the owners have recognized that in order to succeed, they need to comply with government regulations and engage in ethical business practices. Alright, so that's the first part of the case study. Complete the following business plan using the information from the case. So the first one, part of the plan, is the operational plan. And so it's from the nature and type of business. And so number one asks, identify the type of firm set up by the three friends. And the best answer for that one would be a public limited company. And it is normally denoted by the LTL limited at the end of the name. So it's a public limited company that they would have set up. It could also be a limited partnership, but later on we'll see that they're talking about shares and stuff like that. And so we'll see that that's what differentiates that from the other one. So for this case, it's a public limited company. Number 1B, state the meaning of the term limited in the name of the firm. And so limited here refers to the fact that all partners, all shareholders are only going to lose exactly what they invested in the company. So if they invested just, let's say, $1.2 million, then that's where they're on the line to lose, $1.2 million. So whatever they invested, that is what they're going to lose if the company is to go under. That's why they said limited. Now, on the flip side, unlimited means that, if they invest, 10,000, they can lose more than that. They can lose a house, the car, whatever. But limited means that they are only going to lose what they invested. Number 2, internal structure of the organization. Identify the type of leadership practiced by the management of the firm. And so we go back up to C, and we know it is democratic. Why we know it's democratic? Because they say that the employees in the firm are encouraged to express themselves and give suggestions, but the owners reserve the right to make the final decision. That right there tells you that this is a democratic leadership style that is used in this company. Number 3, management functions. Outline one reason why the manager of SSJ Steam Cleaning Limited would likely succeed. One reason why he would likely succeed. And so there are a number of things that they outline that are advantageous to what they can do, but for sure, if you're looking at the management functions, they share, so they delegate, they share responsibility amongst themselves. See, shared management functions and responsibility have proven to be advantageous to the firm's operation. So that means that no one person is in charge of everything. They share their management responsibilities, and so you have a lot of delegating going on right there, and that's a function of management, delegating. So that you can see why they could be successful in that area. All right, so that's when looking at the functions of management. We're looking at the functions, management functions. Management have a ton of functions, and delegating happens to be one of those functions. So again, here we see the wheel of management functions, and we see delegating going on there because they divide the task among themselves. You can also see communicating coming out there as a strong advantage because these were three friends from way back, and so they planned this a long time, and so you can see that in order for this to happen, they would have communicated with each other. So communicating can come out there also. And then we have planning and organizing coming out also, the fact that they decided after a few years, the friends pursued further studies in finance and marketing, and the art of steam cleaning. So right there you see that they're planning ahead so that they can become better later on. But the main thing that comes out in this here, it would be the communication because they are friends, and the fact that they delegate the task amongst themselves. They split responsibilities. All right, so now number 3, management functions. And so we already stated that. Number 4, ethical issues. State 2 ethical or legal issues that the owner of SSJ Steam Cleaning should consider in the operation of the business. So we have ethical or legal issues. And so we can see here from the book that we have a whole ton of ethical and legal issues that the company can be faced with. And so one of the key things here we see is misleading advertising. Now, if you look at the statement above, you'll see that they outline one key thing here. They said that they use mild but effective cleansing agents and chemical. Mild but effective. Now imagine if you go and advertise and say that you are using mild but effective, but you're using, harsh chemicals. So advertising is an ethical thing that you would have to put out there. You have to be advertising correctly. You cannot misinform the general public as it relates to your advertising and what you can do. So these are some of the issues that can deal with. Also, we're looking at the fact that they mention themselves. Over the years, the owners have recognized that in order to succeed, they need to comply with government regulations and engage in ethical business practices. Now, government regulations include taxes. Now, one ethical thing is to pay your taxes and pay them on time. Don't try to skimp out on taxes. So that's another ethical issue they have to deal with. Also, compensating of the employees. Failure to adhere to business building and town planning act. All those things are ethical issues. Then you have environmental pollution. That's a key issue here for this company because they use chemicals. So cleansing agents and chemicals, that's a very important issue as it relates to disposal of your waste. So when looking at ethical issues, are they disposing their things correctly or not? So you can state ethical and legal issues that the owners of SSJ Limited should consider in operation of the business. So 2 things would be advertise, rightfully, put the real information in the advertisement, and disposing of your stuff properly, disposing of the chemicals properly. That's good ethical practices they can use. Then B says outline one ethical or legal aspect of the business that SSJ Cleaning Limited should avoid. And of course, I give you a list right there. You can choose any. For example, avoid withholding taxes, straight up. Avoid tax dodging, don't dodge your taxes. File the proper taxes, that's one. Dispose of your things properly, your chemicals and things like that. So you don't want to just dump in the river, in the ocean, anywhere. You want to dump your stuff properly. So all these are ethical issues. You just choose 2 that they should consider, which is things like advertising and also the disposal of the chemicals. And to avoid, they can avoid tax, not paying the tax on time or not paying taxes at all, among other things. Environmental pollution, noise pollution, all those things. So you can choose from those and you can get your marks for that one. Section B. SSJ Steam Cleaning Limited operates from Stephanie's home, which is located near the town. There are no rental charges to the firm, but it is required to pay utility and other bills. The firm carries out steam cleaning for various customers, including households, private, public businesses, schools, and hospitals. Currently, the firm is practicing good public relations by entertaining faithful customers on occasion, and this so far has had a positive effect on the business. Equilibrium pricing was used in the early stages of the firm, but the owners are now planning to use other pricing strategies. So marketing plan now. So question 5, target market. State 2 benefits of the present location of SSJ Steam Cleaning Limited. And of course, they're outlined right here where they say no rental charges. So that's one thing. So it's cheaper to stay where you're at, cheaper to stay from the house because you don't have to pay any high rental fees that would come about if you are located in the heart of the city, for example. All right, so that's one way. Also, you see that currently the firm is practicing good public relations by entertaining faithful customers on occasion, and this has a positive effect on the firm. So they say the reason why they might be able to entertain faithful customers is that they might be in the area, you know, households. They entertain households, and they live in a residential. The firm operates in a residential area, so the location again is one benefit because you're closer to some of your target market. Alright, you're closer to your target market. For example, households. It's a residential area, so you know it would be a stone's throw away from certain households, maybe schools and hospitals, because it's a residential area. So you're closer to your target market because of your location. So that's two right there. So one, the overhead charges might be, you know, lower because you're not paying any rent, and two, you're also closer to your target market because of where you are located. You can also go as far as saying that because of the location, they might save on, for example, travel charges for traveling, gas and that kind of stuff, because they are located in a built-up area, and so they'll be relatively close to households and other private and public businesses, schools and hospitals. So maybe by their location alone, they will be able to save on certain costs. Also, they might be able to save on costs such as, you know, traveling, and also to acquire certain chemicals and certain resources needed in order to facilitate their job. So all those things are benefits of their location. Then let's say B, list 4 groups in the firm's present target market, and they are outlined right there. You have household, that's 1, private and public businesses, that's 2 and 3, schools, that's 4, and hospitals, that's 5 right there. So those are the target market for this company. Households, you know, your regular mom and pop household, you know, wherever you people in the residential area. They also have private and public businesses. You have schools and you have hospitals. They're outlined right there. So list 4 groups in the firm's present target market, and they're right there. And then we have 6, competition. Identify 3 likely competitors of SSJ Steam Cleaning Limited. So 3 likely competitors for SSJ Steam Cleaning would be, okay, so let's look at their target market first and foremost. So we said the target market includes households, private and public businesses, schools, hospitals. Those are some of the target market. So clearly, competitors would include, of course, other cleaning services out there. Other chemical cleaning services would be one of their competitors. Clearly, they're not the only one, because they say that they charge in equilibrium pricing. So there are others with that same, you know, style of cleaning. So that's one, rival steel cleaning agents. But if you look at this, schools might have a janitorial staff, hospitals might have janitorial staff, households might have maids and stuff like maid services and stuff like that, or even the person themselves. So other competitors would be, of course, if the companies have an internal janitorial staff that can actually do the same kind of cleaning. Our companies might not have that. It might be too expensive to do it internally, so you know, you might get a chance to bring in somebody outside. But if they find that, okay, they can do it internally for a cheaper rate, then that's a competition right there. So internal cleaning staff, the janitorial staff, those kind of things are another competitors for them. On a personal level, you might have the homeowner themselves. They might be able to do the cleaning, buy the chemicals themselves, do the cleaning themselves if they so desire. So that could be a next level, a next kind of competition for the company. So you have rival similar cleaning companies. You have internal cleaning companies like janitorial staffs. You have private. You have let's say maid services out there that can be used to clean household and other offices and stuff like that. So all those people involved in cleaning would be considered competitors for SSJ Steam Cleaning Limited, because they are not the only steam cleaner in town. So a company can very well buy a steam cleaner and give one of their janitors to, hey, steam these drapes or these chairs or whatever. It might be cheaper, it might be more expensive, but that's where the competition comes into play. So all those are competitors that might affect the SSJ Steam Cleaning Limited. Then we have number 7, pricing strategy. Outline 1 benefit to the firm of utilizing an equilibrium pricing strategy. Alright, so equilibrium price normally refers to where supply and demand meet, and so another name for that is the market price. So we're saying here that for most of the cleaning agencies out there, SSJ is charging the same rate as them. market price. So if they're charging, let's say $10 per hour, that's the same thing SSJ is charging. So outline one benefit of utilizing this, that means that they are not going to be leaving money on the table. They're not going to undercut anyone, they're not going to be losing. They are going to be on the same price level as everyone. So that's one benefit right there. Nobody is going to undercut them. They're going to be equal on pricing. So now each company has to now use something else to differentiate themselves. And you see SSJ try to use, good PR and stuff like that. But for now, outline one benefit the firm utilize an equilibrium pricing strategy is that, first of all, it's charging like everybody else the market price. And because you're charging a market price, that means that you are not losing any money by undercutting, or nobody's undercutting you also, or charging higher than you. So everybody on the same level. So you have to compete on something totally different from now on. So the key benefit here is that you are in line with the overall market price. So nobody higher than you, because if they go higher, nobody gonna buy from them, they're gonna come to you. If they go lower, people might say, okay, that might be a little suspect, and so therefore they might not go there. So you are in line with everybody. Now B, two other pricing strategies that could be successfully utilized by the firm. Two other pricing strategies. So you have a whole bunch of different pricing strategies out there that you can use. And so you can look at which ones might be applicable to the firm. And so we have, first one we have here is cost plus pricing. The business adds a markup to the cost of producing the product. For example, if the average cost of producing a t-shirt is $20 and the business wants to add a markup of 20% for the profit, then the price of each t-shirt. Okay, good. So you have cost plus pricing. Maybe cost plus might be a little higher than the market price. So maybe the market price might be about 5% over cost. You can always add an next 5%, and that would give you a next opportunity to increase your revenue. So you have cost plus pricing. Then you have penetration pricing. This involves setting the low price initially to encourage consumers to try a new product in order to build sales and product loyalty. So you enter the market lower, and so therefore you get them hooked with your good service and everything, and then when you keep up the price now, they are going to be willing to pay because they're getting good service. Then you have, well, price skimming would not be really applicable to that one. Let's look at psychological pricing. Consumers often use this price of a product as an indicator of its value and quality. All right, so you might very well be able to charge, $55, $59.99. That's like $60, but to the customer is somewhat a little cheaper. So you can use psychological pricing to get that done. Then you have price discrimination, where they charge different prices to different groups of people or the same product. This is a very good one for SSJ because you see that they have target markets such as hospitals, schools, households, private and public companies. So you can charge private companies. If it's a big company, you can charge them more because they are able to pay for it. You can charge the school less because it's a school and you want to be a little charitable. So you can charge your groups differently based on who they are. So that's the next one they can use, secular price discrimination. And then of course they're already using going rate pricing, but they can also use competition-based pricing, where when there's fierce competition, the firm often have competitive pricing strategies. Competitive pricing strategies can deter new competition and defend market share. So what this really means is that they can charge a certain price that can prevent others from entering the market and undercutting them. So you have some to choose from. So you choose one or two and you put it there and you're good to go. All right, number 8, methods of promoting sales. Describe the method of promoting sales that is currently being used by the firm. The method of promoting sales that is currently being used by the firm. So if you read here, it says, currently the firm is practicing good public relations by entertaining faithful customers on occasion, and this so far has had a positive effect on the business. So right here, we see how they are going about promoting. One way they are going about to promote their company. They're using basically word of mouth in a sense, because they use good public relation, meaning that they have a good relationship with their customers, and they see them in a good light. And the way they do this is by entertaining faithful customers on occasion. So what they're saying is that when somebody who has been with them for a long time wants them to do something, maybe it might not be, you know, something they would regularly do. Maybe they are no longer on their rotation, or maybe it's a week at a time that they are busy or something. But what they do is that they make sure to sort out their faithful customers. Okay, so they look at them, look after the faithful customers, who would in turn, of course, give them a positive review, positive word of mouth, and so that would go towards the making the company being seen in a positive light. And that's what public relations is all about, helping the public to see the company in a positive light. So if they know that this company is loyal to their faithful customers, of course everybody's going to want to come on board and be a part of it, so that they can get the good treatment that they dish out to their faithful customers. So they are practicing good public relations, so they're putting their best foot forward, putting themselves good in the eye of the public, in the eye of their customers, and so that has dividends for them, because they say so far it has had a positive effect on the company. So that's their promotion thing right now. They entertain their faithful customers on occasion, so that, you know, they can spread the word, give them a good review, and so they have good public relations out there. Number 8B, recommend 3 other methods of promoting sales that the firm could utilize to boost the demand for their product. And of course, the obvious one is advertising. You use advertising to boost your sales, and so they can use advertising as a way to promoting their products. But outside of advertising, there are other ways they can promote their products, and we see a whole bunch here. They say free samples. All right, for example, if you clean somewhere, steam clean somewhere, you can leave a free sample of maybe a air freshener or a sweetener or some other cleaning aid, detergent or agent that you can use, a little small packet, to make sure that the place stay fresh. So you can use free samples in this case. You can give away certain things, you know, a free air freshener, free whatever it might be, to encourage people to come and use your service. You can also use coupons. You can give your customers coupons so that they can, you know, when they come up for next cleaning, we can schedule cleanings, and maybe on every 4 cleaning or something like that, you get a discount for cleaning. Then of course you have things like loyalty points. You have premium gifts attached. You can have a gift attached to cleaning, contests and sweepstakes, of course. But for this one, loyalty points would come in handy also. You have loyalty points where for every, let's say 100, every cleaning might be 10 points, and so when you reach 50 points, you get a free cleaning, something like that. So you have loyalty points building up, and over time you can redeem those points in the form of maybe a free cleaning or something in that nature. Then of course you have rebates, where you can actually give them money back, guarantee and stuff like that, for taking part in your business. So let's say that it might cost $100 to, you know, clean. Then you say, okay, we'll give you like a $10 rebate. So customers will receive part of their purchase back in order to encourage them to come back again. So those are other ways you can promote sales. You have also a whole bunch of BOGOs here, buy one get one half off, stuff like that. For example, you might want, let's say, drapes cleaning, and maybe you get car cleaning half off or something like that. But they can be creative with all these other forms of promotion. They can also have point of sale displays, where they can ask to put their kiosk or something in the supermarket to promote the chemical that they use, and so they have the information right there as it relates to sale. Getting people in contact with them to get their cleaning done. So there are a lot of stuff they can choose from in order to promote their business. So you choose 3 and you go, and you make sure you match for the company. That's the good thing about these kind of case studies. You can, once you apply something and it makes sense, they cannot really give you incorrect answer because you see the logic behind it. Number 9, chains of distribution. Describe the channel of distribution used by SSJ Steam Cleaning Limited. The channel of distribution used by SSJ Steam Cleaning Limited. So as it relates to distribution, you see here, they say the firm it operates from her house, so that's you see that right there from her home, and the firm carries out steam cleaning for various customers. So they go directly to the customers on site to perform their duties. So in essence, they don't really have any middlemen. All right, so you have a normal typical distribution channel right here: producer or manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, final. So what they use, they go straight from producer to final customer. There are no middlemen as it relates to their distribution. There are nobody in the middle. They are the ones who handle everything. They go from site to site, and they don't take any they're not agents or anything like that. They handle all of their distribution themselves. So they are the ones who go from site to site and carry out their duties. They don't have any middleman. They don't go to any cleaning agency, anything like that. So nobody have to call them to tell them where to go. They handle all that themselves. So they might have a producer to customer distribution, or it might have business to business in the form of them going to private and public businesses. So it's a business to business directly relation, business to business. Then you have household would be to the customers, to producer to final customer. So in essence, there are no middlemen in this one. They handle everything themselves, the logistics themselves. So that's the distribution channel, as you can see from what they would have said in section B. So there are no middlemen. They don't go wait and nobody to call them to tell them go to this site to clean this thing. No, they handle everything themselves based on what you can see from the passage. So once you would have completed that, you would have had a total of 20 marks for that section. All right, so we're on to section C. SSJ Steam Cleaning Limited's startup capital was $1.5 million. This was obtained through the purchasing of ordinary shares by each of the owners. The success of the firm has motivated the owners to expand its service to cater to the wider community and eventually the international market. They anticipate being able to make greater profits, and if this remains constant, they will be able to further expand employment, increase production, and make an even greater contribution to the average disposable income of the country. The firm is subject to government regulations, including the payment of taxes. So here, number 10, financial plan. Role of the government. State 2 ways other than taxation in which the government can regulate the firm. 2 ways other than taxation. And of course, you have one way is zoning. Of course, the government can say that if you are using these kind of chemicals, you cannot be located in this area. So they force him to go maybe on an industrial park or something. So the government can use zoning in a way, as a way to regulate the firm. So there are many other ways besides taxation and the zoning. There are also ways such as environmental protection, laws in general, and these laws would be surrounded around things like environmental protection, because you know that the company uses chemicals, and so the government would regulate the way in which these chemicals can be handled, the way in which they should be handled, the way in which they should be disposed of. You can't just throw them in the ocean or something like that. So regulations around chemical use can be used to regulate the company also. So we have zoning, location, zoning, premises. We have things like labor laws. So the government would regulate how the workers should be treated as it relates to labor laws. Also, they would regulate how the customers should be treated as it relates to health and security. So of course, you know that the company uses chemicals, and as such, the government would regulate the way in which they should be dressed, the proper protective clothing they have to use, the mask, whatever they have to use. This can be stipulated by government in order to regulate the company. So safety, the working conditions, the labor laws about with the way in which you pay your workers and stuff like that. And so all these are ways in which the government can regulate the company. They can also use various licenses and licenses and fees and those things in order so you cannot use certain chemicals, you cannot perform certain tasks unless you have a permit or a license to do so. All those are ways in which the government can regulate the firm. Number 11, international trade. So just 2 reasons why SSJ Steam Cleaning Limited would desire to engage in international trade. And of course, one advantage of international trade would be the fact that they can open up their market. They can have access to a greater market. The Caribbean might be a small place, maybe about 11 million people, and then you expand to the US, we have 300 million people. So the international trade gives you a greater reach in order to earn more profit. Also, you might want to engage in international trade so that you can be up to certain standard, because maybe the local standard isn't enough to push you to better your service, better your product. But now if you go venture into international trade, you have to up your product, up your standard and stuff like that in order for you to meet the criteria of over this. So that force the business to propel themselves further and farther so that they become better at what they do. So that's the next way. So upping the standard, opening up the market. Also, you might have what you call economies of scale. They might engage in economies of scale where, because they are growing and they're expanding, they might be able to get certain things at a more reasonable price. Your overall production cost going down as a company going up. So now you can buy chemicals in bulk because you have an overseas contact or something like that. So you can buy it in bulk, it's way cheaper. You have other advertising. You can advertise on certain forums because you have a larger market and larger people to listen to you. So you can have your economies of scale as it relates to marketing. So you can have a financial economies of scale also because the company getting bigger, and so you have more access to different forms of financing. More people, more shares being purchased, stuff like that. So all those are reasons why they might desire to engage in international trade. And here in the textbook, we see some advantages of international trade. It gives the local businesses the opportunity to expand into new markets, as I said before. It increases competition in the domestic market. Foreign products force local producers to improve quality. There we go, we say that up the standard. And selling of products into markets in other countries reduces the risk of the business to the business, meaning that they don't have all the eggs in one basket. So a fall in demand in one country will be less damaging if sales hold up or expand in other foreign markets. So if the local business falls, you still have the overseas one to pick that one up. Products may not made locally can be imported. As you said, somebody did this, the chemicals and stuff can be imported at a cheaper rate. Economies of scale. And so you get them at a more reasonable rate. And of course, countries can access the resources they need, such as, financing and stuff like that. So all those are advantages of international trade. So you choose one and you go. All right, moving on. Number 12, economic impacts. Explain one way in which SHS Team Limited could have a positive impact on the economy. And so there are many ways that it can have a positive impact on the economy. And you can see them being outlined here. They say they anticipate once they start exporting, being able to make greater profits, and if this remains constant, they will be able to further expand employment. That's one impact right there. Giving people jobs, expanding employment. They're going to be able to employ more people, so they add more workers to the economy, so more people getting jobs. Then they say increase production and make an even greater contribution to the average disposable income of the country. So here what they're saying is now the company can now also contribute to GDP. They can help enhance improve the GDP of the country, meaning that because they might be paying more taxes because they're making more money that goes to the government, and as such the government can use increased taxes to fund other things, housing, schools, hospital, health, that kind of stuff. So they can enhance the overall productivity of the country. And of course, they say, the payment of taxes that we said before, they can use taxes, the government can use more taxes to help better the country. So there are ways in which they can benefit or impact the economy. 1, produce jobs. 2, contribute more to GDP. 3, they can add more to tax revenue to the government. So they say explain one way, and so you choose any one and you go to town on that one. So I gave you 3, you can choose anyone and go and explain it more deeply. Alright, the last one, executive summary. What it's saying, describe the overall business operation in one paragraph, covering information from all 3 main areas of the business plan. And so this one is 3 marks, so you just describe everything you do before. So you look at section A, B, and C. So you have the operational plan, marketing plan, financial plan, and you give a brief synopsis of how the overall the main areas of the business. For example, we're looking at the operational plan. How do they operate the business? First of all, the business is a public limited company. It is run out of the home of one of the partners. They do door-to-door services for various companies. The way they market their product is basically through word of mouth, through doing a good job, through good PR. So they use that to boost their sales. And so they have dreams of further expanding and eventually exporting. And also they were the ones, so before you even mention all the exporting stuff, you have to mention that they were the ones who sourced the 1.5 million in order to finance the business, and they want to grow the business later on and eventually export overseas and keep the business going. So you can just summarize everything in a nutshell, and that will give you 3 marks, and that would basically be the end of that paper 3, and you get your full marks. Now a good thing about paper 3 is that it's not too stringent, it's not too, you ain't got in a box. You can use what you see and explain. Once it makes sense, then they're gonna have no choice but to give you the correct answer, because business as a subject, POB, is a very commonsensical subject in a sense, where once you use a common sense and you match it with the theory, then you should be able to match up any POB exams. So paper 3 tend to be a little easier than paper 1s, paper 2s, as you can see, because they give you something to feed on. They give you something to, pull your ideas out of. They give you a whole 3 different sections you read and you apply. So it's about application now. Alright, so I think that's it for now for paper 3. You know what to do. You like, subscribe, and of course you hit the notification bell to know when Learn SKN would have dropped another, maybe paper 3, maybe a lecture, we don't know. So you have to be on top of it. Alright, you have to be able to be on top of it. So that's it for now. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and yeah, that's it for now.